Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Andrew Yang Daily Show. I'm your host, Matt, and today is September 6th, 2019. Before we start today's episode, I want to thank everyone for the amazing response to episode 1. It truly motivates us to continue doing this series. Now let's jump right in. Our lead story today comes via NBC News, but not for what they reported, but for what they didn't report. Do you catch the candidate's name missing from the list? That's right, NBC News left out Andrew Yang from their video, even though he's the 6th highest polling candidate in the race, according to the Real Clear Politics poll average. NBC even had the gall to mention Tulsi Gabbard and Tom Steyer in the video, two candidates who didn't even qualify for the third debate. But not Yang.
So a guy like Tom Steyer, who looks like he's going to miss this September debate by one poll, just needing one more poll at 2%. If he can do that in the next month now, one poll at 2%, that'll count with everything else he's done. He'll get in the October debate. Tulsi Gabbard, 2 polls short. If in the next month she could do it in 2 polls, she can get in the October debate.
This wasn't a mistake, it was a blatant omission. And it isn't the first time MSNBC has left out Yang either.
A lot of attention is going to be on that Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden dynamic. And then, of course, those other candidates, folks, you look again, who else is on that stage with the former vice president, with Bernie Sanders? Andrew Yang, my screen just went out. Particular, and the second night, as you say, that's the night Joe Biden takes the stage. Kamala Harris will be right there next to him. All eyes obviously will be on those two after what we saw in the first debate. But I'd also say, keep an eye on Cory Booker. Keep an eye on Julian Castro. They saw what happened with Kamala Harris when she went after Joe Biden in that first debate, how she got traction from that. Are they going to try to take a page from her book? And also, again, as I say, Bennett, Gillibrand, Gabbard, Inslee, de Blasio.
Andrew directly called out MSNBC over their lack of coverage, and an MSNBC producer named Michael Hopper falsely claimed the image Yang tweeted was doctored. Incredible. Hashtag Yang Media Blackout began to spread on Twitter, and NBC eventually corrected their quote-unquote errors. This story from Newsweek is pretty gross. It's about a right-wing radio host who made extremely racist remarks regarding Andrew Yang. He began by criticizing Yang's universal basic income proposal, and then things went downhill fast. I'm almost embarrassed to show you this next clip, because this radio host deserves zero attention, and I'm not going to say his name, but I think it's important for viewers to see.
Asian guy or Chinese guy, wherever he is, he should go back to China, wherever he came from, Andrew Yang. So you allow these people to come into our country and they come in with their socialist, communist ideas. The guy, Asian guy, whatever he is, socialist, Democrat. Can we send this guy back to wherever he came from? I've been told that his parents are from Taiwan. They need to send him back to Taiwan, wherever he came from. So is he an anchor baby or something? More a sick person, right?
No, buddy, you got that backwards. You're the sick person. When you use racism instead of facts to make an argument, that tells us all we need to know about you. His website actually claims to be uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. In lighter news, mathematician and economist Eric Weinstein pointed out NBC's gaslighting of Yang today, and then invited the candidate onto his podcast, known as The Portal. Yang confirmed via tweet that he would appear on the show. This could be another huge opportunity for Yang to spread his message, especially in light of the rampant media bias against him. A date is yet to be announced. Weinstein is a frequent guest on shows such as The Joe Rogan Experience and has 256,000 followers on Twitter. Zach wanted me to let you all know he really likes Weinstein and is super excited about this. 2 national Democratic primary polls were released by HarrisX today, with one showing Yang at 3% and another at 2%. Today was also National Read a Book Day, and here were Andrew Yang's recommendations. The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein, Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, and 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. In spirit of the hashtag Yang Media Blackout, here's our Yang Gang meme of the day. Hill TV's Crystal Ball spoke up about the media bias against candidates like Yang today.
CNN recently displayed a curious graphic. Looked ordinary enough listing of top candidates in a new national poll, but with a rather glaring omission. So rather than listing the 6th place candidate, Andrew Yang, who was polling at 3%, they skipped right over him and instead included Beto O'Rourke, who was garnering 1% in that poll. Now, this may have been chalked up to a simple error if it weren't part of a persistent pattern of ignoring Yang's candidacy. Oddly unbalanced graphics that seem to include just enough candidates to get the media favorites in but exclude Mr. Yang. And as Axios recently pointed out, Andrew is 6th in the polling average, yet he's 14th in terms of the number of articles written about his candidacy. Clearly, there's something going on here. They don't fit the mold. They aren't in the club. They defy the rules. Asian techies are supposed to develop the latest AI, not lead the revolution to put humanity first. Rather than deal with these contradictions, by the way, which have clearly fascinated the public, judging by Google and Twitter trends, it's easier to mock, to smear, or to ignore altogether. Not only do these candidates not fit the mold, though, they also, in their own ways, represent threats to the current holders of power. And Andrew didn't come up through politics, so they owe absolutely nothing to the Washington or Democratic Party elite. There might not be an edict coming down from on high to destroy those candidates who threaten the system, but there are some natural defense mechanisms that kick in. And so strange graphics are made that just happen to leave you out. Coverage vacillates from total blackout to wild smear. Candidates who don't conform may be exactly what the country needs, but they are precisely what the media scorns.
The Hill TV is a good source for news, and unlike other media sources, they actually cover Andrew Yang. I highly recommend adding them to your watch list. The New York Times released an article today titled Andrew Yang's Quest to Make America Think Harder. It provides a profile of Andrew Yang's campaign, specifically in New Hampshire. Speaking of New Hampshire, Andrew Yang will be at the 2019 New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention tomorrow. If you're in or around New Hampshire, head out and support Andrew Yang. The event will be hosted at the SNHU Arena in Manchester, and doors open at 7 a.m. The Zach and Matt Show will try to upload the full video of Yang's speech immediately following the event. The Washington Times also released an article today on Yang's interview with NPR from the previous day. "I truly am his kryptonite," Yang said in the interview, speaking of Trump. Yang went on, "He runs most effectively against people that are part of the DC establishment, and I am not." Yang pointed out that he is one of the only candidates President Trump hasn't attacked on Twitter, and made light of this clip from a Donald Trump rally from 2018.
"The only thing I worry about is that some total unknown that nobody ever heard of comes along. Who the hell can beat us? I mean, who can beat us?"
Yang also subtweeted the president today. That concludes episode 2 of the Andrew Yang Daily Show. I hope you enjoyed, and before I go, if you haven't seen our supercut we uploaded last night of Joe Biden and Andrew Yang from The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, where Biden copied Yang almost word for word, then be sure to check it out. Thank you to those who commented and suggested that video idea, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang. Yeah, yeah. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang.